Hello again, you sick, twisted weather freaks. And welcome to another fun filled, action packed, and intellectually stimulating edition of This Week in Weather. I'm your host and meteorologist extraordinaire, DT from Weather Risk, your captain of chaos, your colonel of confusion, your commander of catastrophe. Let's talk about this week in weather. Mostly going to talk about November, the cold spell, what's going to happen, the warm up, which is coming here a little bit. Well, a seasonal warm up, not 70s, not 80s, just a seasonal warm up. And then the new climate models, Canadian model, Japanese model, and then the European and the British model come out next week. And then we'll talk about the potential for a significant East Coast, or at least Eastern U.S. winter storm sometime around Thanksgiving. So let's see. So here is the jet stream map as of November 1st, yesterday. You can see the monster trough coming in here. Very powerful trough. If this was winter with this sort of pattern, the blocking and the strong ridge here, this would be a severe Arctic outbreak. No doubt about that. There's the upper low here, another one here in the Hudson's Bay, another one to the out towards Iceland. Notice a very strong blocking here. That's a strong Greenland block, a negative NAO. And there's a nice ridge here, a positive PNA pattern right here, extending all the way up into the western half of the Atlantic Circle, Arctic region. So you can see a lot of flow coming right out of Canada into the central and eastern U.S., and that brought the cold air. Look at these temperatures November 1st. Pretty impressive. A lot of places had a hard freeze, and if they didn't get one on November 1st, they certainly got one November 2nd. Hard freeze in the Shenandoah Valley, much of any areas in Pennsylvania which hadn't seen it before, the western half of North Carolina. A lot of places had a frost to the east of that, close to 95. And then you can see also, look in northern Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, the Ohio Valley, all got slammed with hard freezes. And of course, some of them had hard freezes earlier, but still, this is a pretty impressive outbreak. Here's November 2nd. Now here, I posted both of these on the Facebook page, but you can see the red line temperatures this morning, November 2nd, on this Thursday morning, below 30 degrees. Below 25 degrees, I should say. And then the blue line are areas within the blue lines below 20 degrees, in other words, in the teens. So this is pretty impressive, I got to tell you. Look at the western North Carolina mountains. A lot of the snow resorts started making snow, testing out the equipment. Same thing in Virginia and West Virginia. So for the last 2 days, a nice shot of cold air, reminding people that the winter is on the way. And so far, up until the warm spell in October was fairly chilly and kind of active, a lot of storms. So we'll see. All right, what's going to happen here coming up? Well, let me get these maps back down. You can see them here a little bit. This is the for November 4 to 10 here. The pattern is going to break down. You can see that. The NAO is still there, negative a little bit around November 4. By November 6, it's breaking down pretty quickly. The ridge here gets under attack from this trough. Okay, so the ridge is destroyed, which means you start getting Pacific air coming in. The trough is gone. And you can see that one of these pieces of energy gets ejected eastward. You get a little low pressure area in the Dakotas, Minnesota, the Great Lakes on November 4-5. And that's going to bring mild air up into the Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, Mid-Atlantic, New England. We'll see that right here. The upper left image is valid November 6, I should say. You can see the low in the northern Great Lakes around Sault Ste. Marie. And then it's tracking well to the north. And south of it, with the westerly winds, you can see the mild temperatures, southwest winds, getting all into Pennsylvania, Mid-Atlantic, the Ohio Valley. And then another surge comes in. This next piece of energy is pretty strong, and it's got some good rains here in the Ohio Valley, which may actually be snow in northern Michigan and northeast Pennsylvania, New York State, interior New England. You can see the big high right here, cold high, which might be cold enough to keep this snow in northern New England. So we'll see. This would be November 9th, 8th and the 9th. And then if we shrink the map down here, you want to see this. This is the system here which blows up. There's the upper low. You can see it very nicely here. Another piece of energy coming in from California into Idaho. This trough really amplifies by November 11th. You get a big trough stretching all the way from well east of Newfoundland down towards Virginia and Kentucky and Tennessee. And notice here the ridge coming down like that. So you get a big flow of cold air dumping right smack into the central and eastern U.S. See how the loads? Boom, just drop the cold air in here. And sure enough, this here is the surface map On the European model, valid November 11th. So this is obviously going to be another freeze event. Now, of course, technically it can't be a freeze event. You only have one freeze, one frost in an area, because once you've had one freeze, you no longer talk about it. But you're definitely going to see temperatures well down to the 20s on the mornings of November 10th and 11th in the Midwest, and then 11th and 12th in the Ohio Valley, the Mid-Atlantic, New England, and the Upper South with this big, this is a 1036, 1038 high. So this is almost like wintertime high pressure. So this is going to be a pretty cold shot that comes down here. Again, look at this upper map. It's going to drop the cold air right smack into the Midwest and the East Coast on November 11th. After that, the pattern breaks down. Let me show you. This here is a very zonal pattern, November 11th to 17th. You can see, by zonal, we mean going west to east, like a zone. See this? Notice you got a positive anomaly here, north of the Great Lakes and south central Canada. This blocks all the cold air up in Canada. So you have essentially Pacific air overrunning the country. See that? So this is November 13th, November 17th, the same thing. The EPO goes positive with this big upper low in the Bering Sea in Siberia, Alaska. Normally you want to see the trough here, but instead it goes retrogrades, and then the NAO now becomes positive. So this is a mild pattern. Now there are some low pressure areas embedded, but this is just rain. There's a mild pattern here in the middle of November. Now, as we go towards Thanksgiving, we're getting this. Now this is the European model, the weekly, from October 31, November 1. Now the European weekly is now being run every day, if you know where to find it. I think Weatherbell has it on a couple other sites. So what you're doing is we're comparing, looking for trends. Okay, we're not predicting snowfall, snowstorms, or low pressure areas, looking for patterns and trends. So this is October 31. Nice ridge here on the west coast, extends all the way up past Alaska. Strong blocking in Greenland and northeast Canada. Nice trough right along the Mississippi Valley, and the blue area shows a negative anomaly, low pressure in the southeastern states. This has potential. This is cold air, cold coming south. This isn't bad. This is a nice looking map. Now, if this were to verify, would this be rain? Would this be snow? Probably rain on the coast, obviously. There's more snow in the mountains, but that's a real possibility. This here is November 1st. Same sort of thing. You start blocking here. There's your polar vortex, a moderate ridge in western Canada, pretty strong ridge. Nice trough here in the southeastern states, cold air coming south. Some sort of low pressure area here. Again, probably snow in the mountains and rain on the coast, but it's going to be Thanksgiving. It's going to be cold rain, I suspect. Could this end up being a snow event? Yeah, for the closer to the coast, or some snow involved in it. Yeah, it's not out of question. So it's just, again, all we're doing here is looking at the trend. This is not correct. All we're doing here is looking at the trend for this November 22nd, 2030 event. That's all we're doing. Just looking at the trend. Okay. Now, let's talk about some other new developments coming up here with the winter. First, I mentioned this earlier, again, on the Twitter pages, on the threads, and on the website. This is the Japanese model. Came out October 15th, I think, October something like that, 16th. And this is December, January, February, the 500 millibar mean pattern for the winter. And if we look at the arrows here, we can see some important things. So this is a positive anomaly. This is blocking the orange area in Greenland, very pronounced in Greenland. And this is a very strong, the blue is negative anomalies here. So this represents a moderate or significant trough right over the mid-Atlantic into the western Atlantic Ocean. So that's significant. And then we also have some pretty strong ridging in western Canada. This is a bullish looking winter pattern for the whole winter. December, January, February. So that's what that is. And then this is just January. Look at this. This is just January. And again, this came out October 15th or 16th. And here we can see the same sort of thing. Again, very strong blocking here. Look at the very strong negative anomaly right in here. Very dark blue, fronting from Ohio and Kentucky, Virginia, right out into the western Atlantic Ocean. Very strong negative anomaly indicating higher than normal probabilities of nor'easters and winter storms. As you can see, the temperatures are way below normal as well here. This is the coldest looking Japanese model for any month, December, January, February, in at least 4 or 5 years that I've seen, maybe longer. This is the really cold looking map. Now, I'm not saying it's right, but it's there, okay? So that's the important thing. Now, here's the Canadian model. And this came out November 1. This is first map here is for December. And you can see the text on the map. I posted this on the Threads page, and I'll probably post it maybe on the blog as well. But you can see very nicely, this is a seasonally mild December. Not a blowtorch, just seasonally mild. You get a bit of a southern stream trough here, negative anomaly in Kansas, a somewhat ridging in western Canada, but you also have this big anomaly right here in north of the Great Lakes. So a lot of the cold air still remains up in the U.S., up in Canada, north of the U.S.-Canada border. The temperatures, half a degree to 1.5 degrees above normal, something like that in the Great Lakes in New England. Not super warm, but a little on the mild side. That's kind of common with December El Niños, as a general rule. But then you look at the precip, look how wet this is. This southern jet stream right here, look at this. Wow. Everybody east of the Mississippi River, but especially from Arkansas, Tennessee, northern Mississippi, Alabama, northern Georgia, the Carolinas, and Virginia. If any of this is cold air, it's possible, it could be some snow. So this is just the start of it. But that's just December. Okay, let's look at January. This is impressive. There's a nice looking map. No doubt about that. This is January. Nice ridge on the west coast here. All right, strong blocking developing in eastern Quebec. You can see that in the NAO. The temperatures, Midwest is still a couple degrees above normal, but look, it's near normal from Maine all the way down to Georgia and Alabama. See that? Near normal. And the precipitation, fairly wet in January. Okay? Not bad. You can see the green colors representing above normal precip running from Texas all the way up into Virginia, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire. Pretty nice looking model for January. And the thing is, the Canadian model has been showing this in September and October and now November. The consistency is what's important here, I think. Now, again, that doesn't mean the Canadian model is going to be right, but we'll see. This Canadian model, we see the Japanese model. Let's take a look at the new European, the British, the French, the German models that come out in the next 7 days or so. All right, this year is February. Woof. Okay, woofing means snow dog, right? That's what this is looking like. So, a couple of things here. Oops. Very strong blocking Greenland. Again, this is the third month in a row the model's been showing this. A nice polar vortex stretched out here. Strong ridging in western Canada going into the Arctic region. Southern jet stream, very pronounced here. Big split in the jet stream. Split flow pattern, powerful. Trough on the east coast. Strong negative anomaly in the western Atlantic and right along the east coast. Notice the temperatures below normal from Maine to Georgia, and then near normal inland. And you can see the precipitation track right along the east coast up towards Pennsylvania and Connecticut. Well, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Virginia. This is screaming winter storm pattern. This is really impressive. And then this is March. More of the same. And now this is 4 months out, so you got to take it with a grain of salt here. But by March, the El Nino will be weakening quite a bit. We still have a very active southern jet stream. We still have the trough on the east coast with a negative anomaly there, and the temperatures are still running either normal or below normal. I got to tell you, as a general rule, the Canadian model has a warm bias. So the fact that it's showing this for for January, February, March is pretty impressive. So there we go. That's what we have for the update. Now next week, like I said, the European climate model, the British model, the other climate models will be out. We'll take a look at that and see what they're showing. Okay, if you want to reach me, there's the website, there's the email, there's the Facebook page, and the Twitter, the X page, and then here is Threads. In case you don't like Twitter, you can go to Threads and look my stuff there. All right, this is meteorologist DT from Weather Risk. I'll see you over on the social media pages and the websites, or over on the Facebook page, and I'll see what we'll talk about next week. Hopefully, the European model will be out, and we'll have a lot to talk about.